fantasy forecast.
All right. Thursday night football. You going to be there, Mike?
I'm going to be there. I got my
You got
my
your jersey on right now. Why don't you show that
Superman
to the YouTube? Show that
Superman
to the YouTubers. Looks pretty good.
That's right. And if you're wondering why I have number 12, it's because it was a gift from the Arizona Cardinals to me.
Is that the 12th man type of thing?
And that's not a lie. They gave this to me, and then I got to go on the field, and it was awesome.
Very fun.
Awesome.
I remember that. I was pretty jealous.
So let's talk about the game.
I'm gonna this is gonna sound like pure, unadulterated homer. The Cardinals are going to destroy the Vikings tonight.
There is nothing homer about that. That is just speaking factually.
Mike said it best on chat last night, off the air, about the Minnesota Vikings defense is going to miss this week.
Yes, so they are missing their free safety, their strong safety, their nose tackle,
Their best
and
linebacker.
Their best linebacker. We saw what happened with Seattle. While Seattle, they have a decent offense. The Seattle offense is not what they have in Arizona, and that was even on the road. Or Seattle was on the road. Minnesota got to be at home. It could be a blowout by halftime for Arizona if they decide to take the shots.
Arizona is the number one scoring offense in football right now. Vegas has the game at almost a 9-point line in favor of the Cardinals at home. I just don't see. I think the question for fantasy owners as well, especially AP owners, is how in the world can Minnesota score enough points? Now, these things can flip because two big turnovers,
Right.
a pick six and a special teams play, and the game's going to be really close. But if things went to chalk, I think it's an advantage of the Cardinals to score a lot of points and just see if Bridgewater can do anything. Because last week we saw the Cardinals take on the Rams. They shut down Todd Gurley, and then they said, show me something else. And they couldn't. The Rams couldn't do that. Now, the Vikings are a much better team. I want to give them credit. They're a very good team. We're saying that they're very hurt on the defensive side, and they haven't been scoring a lot of points.
And you saw an exact recipe that Seattle did last week. This is how you shut down the Vikings because Teddy Bridgewater has been so disappointing. I mean, most teams, you already know, stop Adrian Peterson and put some points on the board, and then the Vikings are just like a turtle flipped on their back. I mean, there's not much they can do at that point except wriggle around just frantically.
Stefan Diggs has taken a huge step back since midseason. You get nothing out of the other receivers there. Right now, no team in football scores a higher percentage of their touchdowns on the ground than the Vikings do, which is a reliance on AP. We expect that. But so what do you do with Adrian Peterson is the question. I mean, I know you're starting him, I guess.
You have to start him, and you have to hope that he gets involved in the passing game more than he has been. Those little dump-offs have killed the Cardinals. I could see a situation where, the Adrian Peterson starts grabbing those, when Mark Ingram played early in the year, that type of a back, a big bruising back, catching the ball in a little bit of an open field, I think that's what they are going to need to do. Now, whether they do it, that's what you hope for in Adrian Peterson. Andy, you and I have him ranked as a top 10 back because he's Adrian Peterson. Mike, you got a lot of shade. You got him at 23.
I think that now Adrian Peterson went full squeaky wheel last week, complaining as he does when he doesn't get his touches. So I don't think that it will be a situation the same as last week. They're going to force him the ball early. Yeah, exactly, early, and try and get him going. It just because of the way I see the game flow going, Adrian Peterson could be in big trouble. Guys that I would like to start over Adrian Peterson. Now, I agree with you guys. It's really hard in your fantasy playoffs to sit down your stud. There's kind of that rule of thumb. You never sit your studs. But, man, this is a problematic situation. But, guys, I like more than Peterson, Yeldon, Darren McFadden, the big salad. We're going to talk about the big salad, Sean Drone, later. Now, do I have the courage
That's what I was going to ask
inside of me to play Drone over Peterson? I don't know. Thankfully,
it's funny to hear them in a sentence like that.
I luckily don't have that situation staring me in the face.
So here's what I think a fantasy owner needs to do if you're an Adrian Peterson owner. Because I think 95% of them, no matter what statistics we throw, including myself, is playing Adrian Peterson. But here's what that means for your team, depending on your matchup. you might need to take some upside risks other places. You might not be able to rely on 20 points from Adrian Peterson or 15 points like you've gotten in the past. You might have to accept the fact he could give you an AP game in spite of the matchup, or he could give me 8. And then I need to make that up somewhere. I need the potential to make it up. That's how I look at it. If I was in that situation where I'm picking a middle-of-the-road wide receiver or Devontae Parker, I'm playing Devontae Parker in that situation for the potential on Monday night.
Well, luckily, it's a Thursday night, so the Adrian Peterson owners get to see
Yep,
right
that's
away.
right. You're right.
It's not Sunday Night Football where you're like, oh, what if this happens? You get to see it happen and then adjust accordingly.
And this is another public service announcement. We've said it before, but this is the playoff week. There are some flex type of players that you're going to put in on tonight's game, like Michael Floyd or John
Baldwin.
Brown.
Tonight's game.
Tonight's
Sorry,
game.
yeah.
Get them out of your flex spot and into your wide receiver spot. I just want to say that before we move from this game. Don't start Thursday night players in your flex if you can avoid it. It just gives you more flexibility if they're going to be starting.
And so, other side of the ball, you're starting Palmer.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're starting David Johnson.
Absolutely.
Yes.
24 touches last week. On pace. He should do the same thing. Andre Ellington has been ruled out.
Has he?
He's out.
Last I heard, they were expecting him.
He is ruled out.
Okay.
They expect him in week 15. That is the new report. So David Johnson, take the rock. Minnesota's 22nd against the run. They're going to be trying to stop Palmer in that offense. That's the beautiful thing about David Johnson is the defenses he's going to face mixed with some talent. What do we expect from Larry Fitzgerald, John Brown, Michael Floyd against the 6th best passing defense?
Well, Larry Fitzgerald, they're part of them being the best passing defense is Harrison Smith, and he's out. That's the problem with the Vikings. Everybody is out. Fitzgerald, over the last 3 weeks, has gotten more targets than any other wide receiver in football. I love Fitzgerald. He hasn't gotten in the end zone. They're at home. Just for Cardinals offense, Fitzgerald, Floyd, Brown, if I can find a way to get them in, I'm playing everybody.
Okay. It's always hard to predict who's going to be the guy.
Yeah, but there's the potential for a huge game for any of the receivers is there.